we'll just go around the table and tell me about the guy. I've got their names and everything, but tell me about the guys that have advanced for you guys.
We've got 3 national qualifiers this year. Ryan Luth, he took his only loss of the year at the regional tournament, but he's one of the few guys on our team or at school that took a COVID year. He's one of the top guys at his weight class in the country. Suffered his only loss of the season at a regional tournament, but I still like his position here in a couple weeks when we get to Roanoke. We have another guy, 165, Harrison Kelly. He just had a great second half of the season. I mean, he started the year unsure of what weight class he was going to wrestle, struggled the entire first semester with just some results, but he really came on regional tournament and took advantage of some opportunities created by the wild bracket and the seeding. And then it was senior Cam Blizzard, so he made the finals at the regional tournament. And just to see him kind of punch his ticket, wrestle in the national tournament his senior year, and relatively close from Greensboro, definitely excited.
Nate, you're up.
Yeah, we have one qualifier, Malik Saleh, who was a returning All-American. He's from Roanoke. Yep. Went to Cave Spring, and before that, Patrick Henry, and just a local guy. And he transferred to us last year, second semester, and I believe he's only lost 4 or 5 times since he's been at Roanoke. One was last weekend at the regional tournament. Had a close match and got caught and by the Washington League kid, Cameron Blizzard. And but I'm really excited about him. I think he's had a little bit of a rough regional, but was battling a few things. But I think he'll be ready to go. I think he's really excited. One of the reasons we got him to Roanoke was the fact that we host, not hosting, but the national tournament is in Roanoke. And he's got a big tattoo on his arm. It's a star. It's the star.
Right.
And I'm like, hey, you can really be the star of Roanoke. You know what I mean? But yeah, so here he is. So.
All right, up Blake. We had 3 national qualifiers at 125. We had Mason Barrett. Mason just wrestled out of this world. Really, the past month, he really put some things together. Just our assistant coach Braswell does a whole lot of work with him, but he had, I want to say there was 4 guys ranked in the top 12 at that bracket, and just wrestled absolutely insane. It wrestled a Tough Stevens kid in the semis, who I believe was ranked 6th or 7th, but he ended up winning the Southeast, region at 25, and so that's 3 regional tournaments in a row. We've won 125, and then Hai Su at 149. He's now a 3-time qualifier. His last year, because there was the changes with the head coach situation at Greensboro College, he decided to do his last year, COVID year, with us. So he's really excited. He's somebody really good on his feet. He's come along wrestling on top a lot better. Still getting a little bit better on the ground area overall, but he's doing great. And then the last one is Alex Turley. Really good friend of mine before he even came to Averett. We're like the same age. I'm 30, he's 28, and a land of opportunity at Averett, and his whole reason for coming in was to get to the national tournament. And one of the selling points for getting him into this last year, coming back for that COVID year, was, hey, the tournament's in your home state. And so, yeah, we ended up with 3. Okay, Logan.
We've got 2 national qualifiers this year, Ray Dixon at heavyweight and Braden Holmesy at 197. Braden's a 5th-year senior. He decided to come back and give himself another opportunity to make his dreams happen. I'm really excited for him. As a 5th year, he's had a couple opportunities taken away from him. He qualified 2020. We got ready, we were prepared. We were up at the national tournament in Iowa, warmed up, everything, and then got the call that the tournament was canceled. Last year had a great season, was 28-1, 1 seed going into the regional tournament. Sprained his ankle in the warm-ups. Still tried to fight through, just wasn't the same guy out there on the mat, didn't qualify. So this year it's been great to see him kind of get over that hump, qualify again, and get his last opportunity here in Roanoke. So we'll have a big crowd out for him. Rayshawn Dixon, he's a junior. He's really come into his own. Freshman year didn't get a whole lot of mat time. That was that COVID season. And last year he was 1 match short. He took 4th place at the regional tournament. So it's great to see him. He avenged a loss. His 3rd, 4th place match last year, he lost the Alvernia guy. This year we got the win in overtime to qualify for nationals. So really excited for him. He's only had 2 Division III losses this season. One was a Washington League guy, the other was Greensboro, and we've had wins over those guys too. So I think he's looking pretty good in his bracket, and I think he's probably one of the guys to beat at the national tournament. So excited for these guys, and should have a good home crowd for him as well.
Okay, we'll go around the horn again. I want to know how you guys can help these kids carry momentum. I just remember when you get into the big meets, some of the details are what matters. Some coaches will say, "Hay's in the barn and just get out there and do what you do." But I always felt like scouting and maybe I wasn't good enough, but what my coach would tell me or pick up on or notice helped me get over the hump on some of these key matches where literally one moment can decide it. So what do you do in the time between now and March 10th and 11th to help these guys, give their best performance? Is there anything in particular other than just, hey, make weight, hay in the barn, do the normal stuff?
That saying resonates with me growing up in Ohio, the hay's in the barn.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's the individuals. It depends on them. Like every guy on the team is different. So for some of our guys, we'll have them relax a lot. Obviously, they won't do a lot of work between now and the national tournament. Some guys want to know every detail of a scouting report, of a game plan, and they want to know it broken down, X, Y, Z, and if this happens, what do I do? But we've got some guys that are at this tournament that they don't want to know anything. Then the next time they want to think and talk about wrestling is when they start to put the headgear on. So it's I think with a team, you kind of take the team as you go, but with wrestling, what keeps it so fun, I think, at least for me, is that each guy is his own person. And so how do you keep them going? You just, at least what we do, I don't want to give away too many secrets here.
Right.
But just relaxing. I mean, how much can you really get better between now and the national tournament? Where I'd like our guys just to stay healthy and not get hurt, and just want to have a lot of fun here in a couple weeks across the street.
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same approach. I mean, we just try to individualize it. For us, it's easy. We have one guy, so and he's a guy that's fifth-year senior, got a lot of miles on him. So I think you got to be a little smart. Like more rest. Rest is every bit as important, right? So I think fine-tuning a few things. I mean, there's some things that we did wrong at the regional tournament that we can correct, and but it's really, I mean, a lot of the work's already done. It's just now fine-tuning things and making sure that, above all, that they believe they can win, right? And I think that's, just kind of making sure you tighten things up and ready to go. So.
Well, I mean, we know all the qualifiers who are out, right? So that was released on Monday. For 100% in agreement, it's about rest, it's about the mental preparation, them believing that they can win. But the one thing we can do on our end is make sure that we've watched enough film on any of the participants so we're ahead of it when that first round matchup comes out. So, for us, it's like we always have one coach that is about our offense, and then we have one coach that is constantly yelling out what's coming out with the other guy. So I think it's important that we it's hard to cram scouting 17 possible guys in a 2-week period, but you can at least cram 8 guys. You can project what those top 8 seeds would be, because in our case, other than 125, we're likely going to wrestle one of those top 8 seeds in the first round. So it's just a whole lot of scouting right now, looking for tendencies and those type of things, but the work's been put in.
I think physically all these guys are in the best shape of their lives right now, so I think recovery is extremely important, just making sure they're feeling good and ready to go. And the other part is just mentally getting them prepared, and for us it's just preaching faith in your training, preaching faith in yourself, and just knowing that we have the ability to get it done. For us it's a lot of mental stuff and just getting these guys out of their shell and handling that match day anxiety and trying to make it just another wrestling match. Is what we do for fun. This is what we love to do. So I'm just kind of being able to let go. And that's probably the hardest thing to do, especially at the regional national tournament, is just letting yourself wrestle and remember what it was that got you here. Some guys can kind of, they shell up when they see the lights on them and they forget about it. So that's important for us, just making sure these guys are loose and ready to go out there and compete.
Okay, obviously the 800-pound elephant in the room is that this thing's right across the street. Right. So, A, how does it help?
And I know there's logistical things here too, in terms of you don't have to get on a plane, you don't have to get on a bus, you don't have to drive, you don't have to travel so much. You still got to get here. But A, how does it help? And then the second question I would have would be, how can it help in the future if this continues to happen? If we can continue to generate this meet here, do all the right things, and the NCAA keeps loving on us. So,
I mean, anytime we're around family and friends, it's comforting. So we have, like I said, one of our guys from Greensboro, a guy from Connecticut and New Jersey. So they have so many family members coming down, and then we have our team 55 miles away. Then our teams, friends of their team. I mean, so from that aspect, it's wonderful. And then you also mentioned we don't have to travel as far as much. I know all the guys also, they don't have to miss as much class. So anything to reduce a little bit of stress of not missing much class, we can just van up and get a workout and come back and stay in our own beds, at least on Wednesday night and Thursday. So it's just all these little comfort things that are on this side. They just add up. And to me, it just kind of builds into the whole experience where these guys get to just, again, be around family, friends, and I think, at least for us, I think we'll have one of the largest crowds we'll have in support of our team at a designated not on campus match. I mean, that's wonderful. So,
and you have a huge special case because obviously the whole city could be here for him.
Right. Yeah, man, he should have a lot of support. It sounds like a lot of people coming to support him, and I know our team will be there. I think it's important for them to come and watch it too. So they're actually gonna be there as well. And yeah, I mean, I think everybody's a little different. Me personally, I always prefer getting out of town. Like, even as a coach, I actually like getting out of town. I just think there's less distractions. Because everybody wants to text you all the time. If they want to come see you and everything, and I think sometimes that becomes a distraction. So that's personally. I mean, I think Malik's excited that's here, and but I don't think it really moves the needle for him either way. I mean, I think he's just he's gonna be ready to go and get down to business. And I think overall it's great for recruiting to a certain extent. I mean, every time we told a recruit this year that, hey, the national tournament's going to be right over here, I think oh really, that's pretty cool. I mean, I don't think it swayed their decision one way or another, but I do think it helps, right? The parents, it's easy for the parents. Obviously, most kids we get are from the East Coast, and I think it's drivable. For most of the recruits we're after. So. In that sense, yeah, I mean, I think I'm a big fan of it, especially if we don't host it. It's actually, we got the benefit of it being the closest team to it, and we don't have to do any of the work. It's wonderful. I mean,
when we get to him, I want to know how it's being hammered.
Yeah. So
what your life has become, but is it helping when you talk to kids that it's here?
I think kids are gonna, make a decision more so based on, your academic profile, like the coaching staff, facilities per se. I don't think necessarily they're gonna make a decision off the national tournament. Now, is it a nice thing to add on? Absolutely. But I don't think it's the whole cake. It's like a cherry on top. But I would say from our program, I just think it's not stressful. When you get on a flight and you got to go, the travel, it can wear on you. You got to it almost feels like you got to get a workout in that night to get that flight out of you. And with it being so close, it's like, all right, we can just grab an Averitt van and head over. And heck, if we feel like we want to come back, we could come back. We're talking about only an hour and a half away. So I will say, I think our guys want the crowd. We've always been known as being a very emotional team, for right or wrong, but I think we feed off the madness. We feed off of the energy. So I think when you see a lot of familiar faces in the crowd, for our team specifically, I feel like it's really good compared to feeling like you're alone in Iowa, like where it's been in the past. So I'm really excited, and I think I'm hoping it's going to benefit us greatly.
He's over here going, not again, don't make it. What's it like for you? Or are there other people dealing with the craziness?
Those two guys out there do most of the the stressful stuff. We're going to handle all the setup, which I think is going to be great for our guys to feel comfortable in the gym, and we'll be in there Tuesday morning. We'll be rolling out the mats and doing all that stuff, so the guys they'll feel comfortable to be home for them. We'll get plenty of workouts in the arena, so it won't be a new place for them. They'll know where all the team rooms, the bathrooms, like everything where they need to be, so they won't be stressed, and it'll feel like a home match for them, which is exciting. They'll have all their teammates there. Our whole team's going to be there in the crowd. We're going to have a huge section. We've already blocked up a whole section of seats for our fans there. So it's exciting for our team, and it helps them feel a little bit more comfortable because we're training, sleeping in our own beds, training in our own room all the way up until the tournament. For recruiting, it's helped some, especially since we're the host. It's just kind of an extra thing that we do, like, hey, we get to be involved in the national tournament no matter what. So even if maybe you're not the guy your freshman year, you're coming in, you still get to be a part of this and show up. And I think it's huge just for our guys that are going to be in the lineup next year to see it. For a lot of people, it's tough to be in the lights for the first time. So these guys have been there, they see it, they know the atmosphere, and it's a great motivator. There's nothing that's more motivating than watching the national finals. And getting you ready for the off season. So I think that'll be the most exciting part for our team, is that fuel to the fire for the summer training.
All right, the last one I have is personal, so think about it a little bit. What does it mean to you, or potentially what could it mean? I mean, you're sitting there, you have a lot of say in what's happened. I know it's an individual sport, I understand, I did it, but you have a lot of say in that person's development while they're with you. And then they're on the mat, and you could potentially see something, right, that could help them get on the podium. Maybe just one thing you notice that other guy's doing, and you're like, hey, this might work. And you say it, and he does it, and boom, he's on the podium. What does that mean to you as a coach? The potential for that, obviously, and then if it happens, because I know every one of you have had that happen before, where you've like something in your past went, I know how I can help this kid right now at this instant, and it's worked out. But now you've got the biggest national stage, and you could do that for one of the guys who's, obviously blood, sweat, and tears for you for the past however long you've had them. So I don't know, what personally, what does that feel like? What do you think about? I'm just curious, because I've never been on that side of it, other than at the middle school level, which really doesn't count.
I'll go for it. I just don't think it happens that much. To be quite honestly, I mean, in the moment, I think. I actually think a lot of times when you're coaching the corner, you can actually be more harmful than good. I mean, the work's for personally. I mean, I think the work's pretty much done, right? You maybe just see some things that maybe the guy's doing, or. But I think, for a lot of our guys, I mean, I try to just sit back, and during breaks maybe mention something, but just let them wrestle. I mean, I think sometimes you can get caught up in what your opponent's doing that you kind of forget, what you're good at. And I mean, I just think it's my assistants, they're young and they get really fired up, and so did I when I was that young. But I think, I don't know, I just think I've had enough guys tell me that, hey, I just, I'll look over if I need something, but most times it's let me go out and wrestle my own match,
Is it, and let me follow up, is there a reward, though, on something you've been working on for 2 years and you see it happen?
Absolutely.
That type of thing.
That happens
as
all the time.
opposed to maybe that's the right question.
Yeah, I mean,
I asked the wrong question.
I mean, even some of the things this week, I mean, we had a disappointing regional, to be honest with you, as far as our expectations, but I think there were some things our young guys did that we worked on during that week was very encouraging. Like, hey, man, he's figuring it out. We just maybe ran out of time. You know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, I think that is very, very important. That's the most important thing, to be honest with you, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say a little bit of both. What Nate's saying. That's the whole pursuit, is trying to figure out it before the match happens. But then I think it goes back to the individual. Some guys don't want to process all that, and they just want to go out there and let it fly. And some, the engineering major wants to know the process, right? But it goes both ways. I mean, there's that moment, there's that elation moment, or you're happy, but then there's matches that don't go your well, and then now you're like, whoa, what did we miss? What did we not tell him? We didn't let him know. So you kind of, it goes both ways. There's matches from this past regional. I think we're all sitting here thinking, matches that we felt like let it slip away that. maybe more so it's you think of those more often. Your heart's with the guys that I would say everybody could have qualified, but with the guys that were right there. And then because you're in, I don't know, for me, I'm in search of those answers. Like, hey, why not here? Truly, honestly, more than being a little bit overly happy for the guys that made it.
I got you. That's fair.
It's funny. I heard a saying the other day, and it really resonated after the tournament. It was like, a parent is only as happy as his happiest child, or his least happiest child. There's a lot of truth to that, right? And the same thing with the team. It's like, like I'm hurting for some guys. Like, are 25 and 33. They've really bought in and done everything right this year, and just didn't, have great tournaments. And like, you want to be really happy for some guys, and then other guys, but you can only really get as happy as your least happiest guy. You know what I mean? So I think that really resonated with me when I heard that. So
I think the one thing I go back to when, coaching in the corner and everything, I go back to 2020. Brandon Woody, I put him down, and everybody in the stands is like, why are you putting him down? Garrett Cornell, who is filthy on top. And I'll never forget, me and my assistant were looking at each other and we're like, we costed him. And the truth is we did. And it's like he had the opportunities, and I think that's where what we can do, the only thing we can do is put our guys in the best spots to win. And, they can be confident as they want on top, bottom, on their feet, but we really know as a coach, like, where they're best at. And I feel it's our job to help them reward themselves the best way we can. And I feel like it's always important they need to be aware of what is coming. Because, hey, at the end of the day, you're not going to get beat with a headlock, a head and arm, but if you know a head and an arm's coming, at least you're aware of it. That doesn't mean you necessarily got to circle left, circle right, but I think it is important to understand everybody's wrestling profile, and not just the guys who are seeded top 4, but the guys you're going to meet in round 1, because you never know who's going to be on that day. And I think it's we kind of keep a booklet, and I don't mind oversharing this, but we kind of keep a booklet on each team, not necessarily freshmen, but guys who are in their second year. And we'll keep that from guys who are first to third on the depth chart, and so they have an idea of what they're about to see when they go out there. Sometimes you just let guys wrestle. Completely agree with that, but I think it's important to understand what you're going up against.
Fair.
I think it's rewarding to kind of play that small role in their process, because most of these guys have been wrestling their whole life. They have a lifetime's of work put in, and we've spent maybe 3 or 4 years with these guys getting them ready. There's a limited amount that we can do in the corner. Sometimes we wish we could do more for them, but we're just kind of enjoying that moment with them and letting them go do their thing. And it's just really rewarding to see them get it done. And it takes a village of people to get these guys ready for it. So just being there in the moment with them and enjoying that, it's a great feeling. Because I've been there on the other side of it. Now it's my first time as a head coach having national qualifiers. That's going to be a great feeling to be in the corner for those guys and just seeing them achieve their dreams and their goals.
You guys were awesome. I appreciate it.
you were awesome too.
Well, I don't know about that, but I appreciate your candor. A lot of these things I think about, and I think it changes as they get further along. And then when you see a guy, and he's in a final, and you're like, this guy, like, he's in a different world. Yeah. He wouldn't hear me if I told him anything. But the fact is, you've already drilled it 10,000 times. Yep. And so you know what you got to do. There are some guys though who don't feel very well on the mat, but if you tell them, they'll just go out and process it. They'll do what you tell them, almost like robotically. I've seen guys win that way too, and it always interested me, the difference between the two. Yeah. There are other guys that are just feel it out there, right, and can move based upon what the other guys. Those were the guys I never understood.
Some guys will look over it, all they do is look at the corner.
Yeah.
They want to be told to go up, down, neutral, whether wrestling, right? It's like,
I know. Yeah. What you want, right?
And some guys are trying to get their attention, right?
Right. I've always
There ain't
wondered.
too many guys here. There won't be too many of the guys here at the national tournament.
I just always wondered what the difference was, and again, it's just choose your parents carefully. It's it's who you are as a person.